Welcome to Critical's Blues Reviews. I'm your host, Kritical. Today, we're going to be talking about a movie that has been done before. The first movie came out in 1993. It had all sorts of entertainment. First it started off as a video game. Then, not in any particular order, they had cartoons. I missed the part two video game, and they had a cartoon that was based off the sequel to the video game. I missed that. Of course, they made the movie starring John Leguizamo, Bob Hopkins, Dennis Hopper, Samantha Mathis, Carlene Moore. So, just to name a few. And when I saw that movie, it wasn't that good. I was, as a kid, I was, 93, 14 years old, 13, 14 years old when the movie came out. So, yeah, I'm dating myself, but fuck it, men can do that. When that movie came out, it really wasn't that good. I was a little bit disappointed. I wanted to like it because this is the first console game that I have ever owned. Super Mario Brothers, and I had an airplane game too, where you shoot it and the ball circle around you, and it's not like Galaga or something like that, Galactica, whatever begins with a G. It's not that game. It was another game that was for Nintendo, and you don't sit in one spot. It's like you travel and you destroy bases and stuff like that. Then eventually I got Top Gun. Love that game too, but hopefully I didn't say Super NES, for regular Nintendo. And so, Mario Brothers was the first game. I couldn't get off the first board to save my life. My mother could. My mother enjoyed playing Mario Brothers. I sucked at it. My mother plays video games to this day. You know what I mean? Like the little games that you buy and stuff like that. But, and I used to get jealous and stuff because my mother can get further than me, and my mother is supposed to be my mother. You know what I mean? And my mother is not supposed to be better than me in video games, even though this is the first video game console I ever have. Or ever had. So, yeah. So, today, we're going to go ahead and get into it. Today, we're going to be reviewing Super Mario Bros. Movie 2023. So that'll be 30 years ever since the original Mario Brothers, live action Mario Brothers came out. That it will be 30 years since this one has come out, which is pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and get into it. The director for this film, you have Aaron Horvath. You might have seen his work that he directed, Teen Titans Go. To the movies. That's an interesting title. Sounds like it's not going to be any action type stuff in that one. Probably funny though. It's probably funny. You have Michael Jelenic. You might have seen his work with the Batman, the Brave, and the Bold. You have Pierre Ledoux. It must be a French cat. You might have seen his work with The Grinch. Now, the writers for this film, you have Matthew Fogel. You might have seen his work, the Lego Movie 2, the second part. The first part, the second part. Now, the log line for this film. Two ambitious plumbers get sucked into an alternate universe and find themselves trying to find each other in the middle of a genocidal war. Yeah, that totally was going on. Now, the characters for this film, or the voice actors for this film, because this is an animation. This isn't live action like the John Leguizamo version. So the voices for this film, the voice characters for this film, you have Mario, played by Chris Pratt. You might have seen his work in Guardians of the Galaxy. He has a movie coming out this year, actually. You have the Princess Toadstool, Princess Peach. I don't know. It's Princess. I've heard Princess Toadstool. I've heard Princess Peach. I don't know. I don't know her name anymore. But she's being played by Anya Taylor-Joy. You might have seen her in The Queen's Gambit. You have Luigi. Man, they helped Luigi. I'll get into that later. Played by Charlie Day. Bowser. played by Jack Black. You might have seen his work in High Fidelity. Now, let me tell you some of the likes about this film. What did I like about this film? Okay. The characters were awesome. Bowser, awesome character. He was my favorite character in this. Even though he was a bad guy, he was genocidal. Kind of gave you Trump vibes. You know what I mean? He did give you Trump. He gave me Trump vibes. I thought he was he was the animated, the most animated villain that a villain could be. Very talented. I'll put it that way. Very talented character. Delusional. You know, like men have to be delusional at times when they have a goal. His delusion was bad delusion. You know, some delusions that men have take them to their goal. This delusion was taking him to his goal, but it was in a bad way. It was harming people, you know, for his delusions. What else can I say about Bowser? I'll get into dislikes. Hopefully I remember that for the dislikes. Princess Peach. I mean, for all the women out there, you know, for the people that's used to, sorry, the princess is in another castle type stuff. You know, you have to save the damsel in distress. You're not going to get that from Princess Peach. She's not the damsel in distress at all. She's actually the pack leader. She is the hyena. She's the alpha female, the hyena, the elephant. You know what I'm saying? That's her role. So those, you know, might enjoy that. I didn't have a problem with it. I say what I did have a problem with in the dislikes, if I remember. Back to King Koopa. King Koopa is my favorite video game villain. Yeah, he is. You also had like Pipe World. I remember Pipe World. Pause. That was in Mario 3. Pipe World was so confusing because you had to go through different pipes, and it was like the whole world was built off of pipes, and you just going through pipes, and you didn't know where you would end up, and you know what I mean. It was you would just be everywhere. That part was in the movie. That was pretty cool. The King Koopa balloon, you know what I mean? We call it the hot air balloon. That was in this. That was cool. The cloud turtle that would be throwing out Spinies. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty cool. They held the Spinies too. I hated the Spinies when I was Mario 1. They held the Spinies on this one. The dog was hilarious on this. The dog didn't really play a part in the actual video game that I can think of. Maybe because I stopped playing Mario Brothers when it went to Nintendo 64. I never had a Nintendo 64. When it was 3D Mario and all of that, I was like, I'd rather it be, 2D, but I'm pretty sure it probably was fun. If I sat down and played it, I probably would enjoy the 3D version of Mario. But I don't know where the dog came from, but it was in reality. But the dog was funny. I really appreciated the dog. He was a hilarious character. And it was one part, I can't remember actually what part it was, but it stuck out to me. If you watch this movie, it's a part where they keep saying peaches, peaches, peaches all over again. But it sounds like they're saying bitches. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was when the King Koopa segment. But look out for that. Look out to replace peaches with bitches. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was just my ears. I just kept hearing bitches. You know what I'm saying? It was like peaches, 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 like bitches, bitches, bitches. That's what it sounded like to me. So anyway, yeah. My dislikes about this film. They held Luigi. I didn't like how they held Luigi. Before I get on Luigi, they held the Spinies. The Spinies, if you all don't remember those, like on Mario 1, these orange crawly moles, but they have like the spines on them. They kind of remind you of the moles with the hard shell. That if you jump on them, they're like the turtles. They'll like bounce back and forth. They're like the little Koopas or whatever. But the Spinies, you can't do that to them because they have like a big spike. They're red and they have a big spike. And the thing is, the more you beat the game, the more they add the harder villains to where the easier villains were. And Spinies, you can't get by them. I think they're indestructible too. I don't think you can shoot fireballs at the Spinies either. I don't think so. I think the only thing that can defeat a Spiny is a star. More on that later. But yeah, they held the Spinies. They kind of, like for them to, with Koopa, it was a Koopa segment, and I was just like, come on, the Spinies, they're pretty irritating. You gotta you gotta acknowledge the Spineys. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just look over the Spineys, acknowledge the other characters, and the Spineys, you know what I mean, are pretty difficult characters to try to beat. You know what I'm saying? In part one, they held Luigi. This is what I kind of got back to, because they didn't want to. You know, this is 2023. Women, you know, are heroes, which is fine. You know what I mean? I don't mind that. But when you base a video game off of saving the princess, you know, when as a man, you know, like your wife and children are in the house, your wife is not going downstairs, and if somebody breaks in, your wife is not going downstairs to handle the robber while the man stays upstairs and protects the children. He would get laughed at, and he would be shamed. You know what I mean? It's not like it's going to be, well, my husband, while I went downstairs to protect the family, my husband was upstairs with the kids. You got to give him props. You're not going to get that. She's going to give you the side eye. But in 2023, in entertainment, it's okay to do that. It's okay to have the woman, you know, take lead and defend the men and all of that stuff like that. It's animation, for one. You know what I mean? It's a cartoon. It's fantasy. There's nothing wrong with that. I didn't like the fact that Luigi got held. You know what I'm saying? Luigi's my favorite character. Like, I would, you know, this might say a lot about my mentality, but I would play Luigi. I have guests over. I would be Luigi, so I can study how they play, so they won't study how I play. Because the person who goes second, you're studying how they're playing, and then once they get out, you kind of know what you need to do, and then you go. And my thing is to make Luigi better than Mario. That was my whole thing. I know it was called the Mario Brothers, and that's another thing. Is it Mario, and then Luigi Mario, or is it like the Mario Brothers? Like Mario, basically, when you say Mario's name, that includes Luigi. Like, I have brothers. You got Donnie, Bobby, and me. You know what I'm saying? So Donnie is the oldest. So when they see us three, do they say the Donnie Brothers? Or, you know, and I'm like, yo, my name is Rashad, you know, when I'm up north. You know what I'm saying? You can call me Critical right now, but are we the Donnie Brothers? You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing I never really got with Mario. You know what I mean? Is his name Mario, or is his name, and Luigi's name is Luigi Mario? Or is it they're just going off of first name and Mario's name encompasses Luigi? Who knows? But they held Luigi. I didn't like that. He was a bitch in this animation. They gave him like one role. You know, it was him that needed saving. Princess Peach, and I get it. Princess Peach, kind of going to the likes, back to the likes a little bit. Princess Peach actually lived in Mushroom Land. I think that's what it's called, Mushroom Land. So she knew how everything worked. So her life is basically an obstacle course. So she's going to be very skilled at what she does. You know what I'm saying? That definitely is a plus and explains things. It's not like that whole, you know, magical thing where I just know how to, you know, fight, you know, without any training. You know what I'm saying? But I'm better than men. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's that's how she survived. I mean, that's her life. She was a princess, and she had an obstacle course, like the video game obstacle course that you had to do in a video game. That was her obstacle course, and she knew it. She had to teach Mario. So that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? That definitely makes sense. But the problem I had is King Koopa is a different beast. Like Princess Peach Toadstool, whatever her name is, can't defeat King Koopa alone, and they acknowledge that because he had an army and he was super strong. You know what I mean? And they've done analytical tests on King Koopa to see how strong he is. If he was in today's world, how strong he would be, and he would be a strong character. You know what I mean? And there's no way Princess Toadstool or Peach can defeat King Koopa. But so that way, if she was captured by King Koopa, you know, of course, you would have to save her. Like, you know, but it was like Luigi instead. And it was just like, all right, because it's, you know, that was, Luigi was kind of the MacGuffin for Mario, for him to go forward into, you know what I mean, into the whole, into his whole voyage. You know what I mean? I didn't really have a problem with that, but it was like, all right, you know, it's cool. It's cool. I'm not tripping. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. You know, and it makes sense. It makes sense. It's just that that's not what I'm used to in the video game. You have to save the princess. You know what I'm saying? If I had to save my brother, that would be cool, but that makes sense. If I had to save my brother, but that's not in the video game. You know what I'm saying? They did multiple video games. I had to save the princess. This little bastard had to tell me, I'm sorry, Mario, but the princess is in another castle. Actually, I'm sorry, Luigi, the princess is in another castle. And they made Luigi the bitch. Anyway, the sound was a little distracting to me. Like, the sound was too low at times. I mean, it felt like the sound should have been higher pitch. Maybe it let out some static, so I had to lower the sound in the background in the editing and the post-editing situation. But it felt like it was loud to a certain degree, and then the sound, when the action sequence would happen, the sound would dial down. So y'all peep that. Let me know if that was just on my end. It could have just been on my end, but I noticed that. 3D isn't a big deal. I went and saw this movie 3D just because, listen, I grew up on Mario. That's my first game to my first console. So I had to see Mario in 3D, you know. But you don't have to. I don't think it's a big deal. I kind of forgot that I was watching in 3D, to be honest with you. I think I forgot I had my glasses on until it was time to walk out of the movie theater. They're like, oh, let me take my glasses off. You know, it's dark as hell in here. But yeah, you don't necessarily need 3D. You know, you can if you want to. Your money. There are 2 post-credit scenes in this film. It wasn't Marvel, so it felt weird waiting for a post-credit scene in an animation movie that had nothing to do with Marvel. First off, I didn't want anybody to see me in there, because when I walked in there, I reverted back to my childhood, and I'm like, oh man, Mario Brothers, da 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 da, and then all of a sudden, there are kids in there. It's like kids. It's like, damn, I don't have any kids. So therefore, there's a lot of kids in here. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, F it. You know what I'm saying? That's my first game I ever had. So I'm watching this. But then you have to stay afterwards to watch the end credit scenes. You know, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was kind of obvious, but you know. I'm not going to get too far into it. You watch it for yourself. All right, so let's talk about the comparisons. What do I compare this animation or film to? I compare this to Ready Player One. There's a racing scene on there that gave me Ready Player One vibes. Also Mad Max. There was some scenes on there that gave me Mad Max vibes. A little bit of Ant-Man 3 when everybody was split up. Everybody was brought into another dimension and they all had to split up. That definitely was Ant-Man 3 vibes in there. And Gladiator. Definitely had some Gladiator vibes that was in there. So, yeah. Which was cool. And don't think, you know, like, I felt like it was a good smoothie blend. You know what I mean? So what do I give this film? Other than the sound. I felt like the sound, for me, was very distracting. But other than the sound, I would give this film 8.5 depressed blue lunar stars. 8.5 depressed blue lunar stars. That was funny. That character was funny as hell. You know, it was a cute character, but it was so demonic. It was a demonic character. But that is it for Critical's Blue Reviews on Super Mario Bros. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it. I really did. It makes me want to go back and, you know, actually now, today, it makes me want to buy the $30 Nintendo game. Actually, yeah, I shouldn't do this. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to go and buy that $30 Nintendo that has all the Nintendo games on it. I'm going to do it. And play Mario Brothers. It's not going to have Mario Brothers 4 on there, unfortunately. Remember Mario Brothers 4 when it was like a little part you would go through the portal and it would take you near King Koopa's castle, but you couldn't go there. It was just like a portal that take you near it just so you can see before you go to the next pipe. You know what I'm saying? It's like the map stage, and you will see King Koopa on his little clown saucer, and it's like they throwing fireworks and they're having a party. I remember I used to just look at that. You know what I mean? King Koopa used to be, you know, back to King Koopa. He used to be terrifying a little bit as a kid because they made him a little bit. They added more human qualities to him as time has gone on. But you look at the first Mario Brothers, King Koopa was crazy looking. You know what I mean? A spiny turtle, and he had big bug eyes. You know what I mean? He just looked crazy, and he would be bouncing up, shooting. Doo, doo, doo. Now that's Donkey Kong. He'll be shooting flames out of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? And it was crazy. And sometimes he'll throw hammers. You know what I'm saying? Depending how further along you get with King Koopa. But yeah, like King Koopa, man, he was a very, very scary character. Like he's the best video game villain to me. You know what I mean? I have to say King Koopa. I mean, when I was young, he was a little scary when you had to go against him. And it was just terrifying. Like when you got on his stage and you had the lava, you had to jump over lava pits and dodge fireballs from at the beginning of the stage. You know, as a kid, man, in the 80s, maybe early 90s, nah, as a kid in the 80s, because I had to be, I don't know how old I was, but I was young. I think I was in the single digits, but maybe 8, 9. But man, it gave you anxiety at a young age, you know. And I think I had a nightmare about him. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, because you always tried to beat him and I couldn't. But yeah. So that is it for Critical's Blue Reviews. And thank you for coming down memory lane with me, because I mean, Mario Brothers was a big part of my childhood. Mario is the reason why I play games today. I never asked for a Nintendo. I didn't know what a Nintendo was. My mother just went out and got it for me. You know what I'm saying? That is it for Critical's Blue Reviews. And please like, subscribe, tell me how you feel about my review. You know what I'm saying? And tell me what, you know, if you want me to review something else. If you're not sure about a movie, you're like, yo man, could you review this for me? I want to see if this movie is worth it. Let me know. Alright, so that is it for Critical's Blue Reviews. I gotta get to work, and I'll talk to you all later. And one.